of a job that someone's been doing that isn't really pertinent to what's going on right now. I am angry and I feel misrepresented, and I understand Mike's anger that he was just not represented at all. And I just ask that whatever solution we come up with for this, whether or not we're going to have liaison for police and media, that we make a foolproof system to where this can't happen again.
There's always an opportunity for growth. Can we understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I don't understand the need to be speaking to the police other than the fact that if they're in the park and something's going down, or when it comes to the time that they're kicking us out of the park. I don't understand why we've ever needed a liaison. I don't know what that liaison was saying when they were saying it. I definitely wasn't represented in any of those conversations, and I don't appreciate it. Everyone has their different opinions about who's doing a good job, who's doing a bad job, who stabbed who in the back. I don't really care about any of that. I don't know that we should be talking to them at all, and I don't like that nobody, whatever happened today with whatever group, people are just like disappearing, and they're talking to the police in these secret meetings. That's not cool. It will never be cool. If we're going to be together as a group, then you guys need to be upfront, straightforward, and it makes it seem like you guys are lying or you have something to hide when you're sneaking off to secret meetings. And I don't think it's okay, and I think that you all need to come forward with what happened today. I think Megan said it, audio, video, you have somebody, a stenographer, whatever. But it's not okay for you to run around and have secret meetings with the cops or the press. I think that the press does have a right to be here, but at the same time, you got to think they're filming all this like kind of craziness that's happening, and it doesn't really make us look that good. So that's just something to keep in mind in that situation.
Nancy? Thank you, Ashley.
Like others, I'm not going to worry about how things were handled in the past. What I'm going to worry about is how we're going to do it from, as a group from here on out, in my opinion, because I see a lot of energy from everybody coming back from D.C. and hooking up with other people. So we brought a lot of that positive energy back. I do agree that there needs to be more transparency. If you're asked a question by Jessica Jagalis over here at NBC 29, you come back to the group and you say, she asked me this is how I responded, this was my opinion. That's transparency. There's no reason why we can't put that on an agenda item. Media contact daily. Same thing with the police department. They have a contact number, and rightly so, because they may have something they need to talk to us about, but that person comes and says, this is what they want to talk about. What do we feel like? That way it kind of takes away the feeling of factions, of secretness, and all that. Is that we just need to, we do need to have some people that, if they're not on point here, there's somewhere that at least somebody can talk, can ask a question. They can bring it back to the group as a whole. Sometimes the nature of the situation means that somebody's got to respond really quick, and we're going to have to vet that out and find some people that we trust, that value our core values, and are not afraid to speak and not afraid to come back and speak to us and represent us in these issues in the next upcoming weeks, and then from here on out, because this isn't going to stop in 2 weeks. This is going to keep going on, and we'll need to have constant communication and constant transparency with anything that we do.
Well spoken. Thank you.
Nancy.
So I want to sit down to say this. Please, this might be a little bit long, but please hold your comments for 2 minutes. We are an open movement. We do not have secrets. We are an open movement. We do not have secrets. Last night, there was a private meeting to discuss the future of this place, to which I was at first invited and then disinvited and then re-invited. And I showed up at the private house that this meeting was going on at 20 minutes before it started, and I was asked to leave. Okay, so, also, just as a side note, apparently at this meeting some of our more radical friends reserved the right to defend themselves against the police when bad stuff started to happen, which also is not in line with our core values, but that's beside the point. So today I was having the bi-weekly meeting that it's actually tri-weekly. It's like 3 times a week for the last month, before this even started, that we've been having. And it hasn't been just me. It just so happened today that nobody else that's been going to this meeting was around. So the same group of people who had the private meeting yesterday and disinvited the people that disagree with them to this private meeting decide that it's in their best interest to go to the meeting with the police. Okay, fine. That's open. I'm for that. Now, when we get there, they're not only are they a little bit disrespectful, but they're interrupting the police commanders multiple times. They're confrontative. Nothing got accomplished there, and I heard back from the police commander today saying that she's really disappointed with the group. So why is this a problem now? Here's my opinion, and this is just my opinion. There is a faction, bad word, there's a faction that is using secrecy, which is against the core value of openness and transparency here, that want to cause trouble, that want to get arrested, that want to use this as a political thing to further their own agenda, and God knows why they want to do it. I wrote a statement. I appreciate if you all let me read this.
Okay, we have a point of process.
I don't think that this has anything to do with what we were discussing on STAT.
It totally does.
It totally does.
It's exactly what we're talking about.
A statement that he's reading from the police, or this is a personal opinion?
His personal statement as a response to this whole thing that he was a part of. We got Rose and Herb got to say their piece, and Lena, so I think it would be good for him to say his.
He needs to be able to defend himself.
And this is also letting you guys know what he thinks and why perhaps this happened.
This is not about defense, okay? I'm not defending myself here. I'm just stating my opinion. There is a faction that wants to cause trouble, that wants to get arrested. They have made this very clear. They think that it will be effective at getting this bigger and more attention. That's a faction of people here that has only now brought this issue up. That's been going on for quite a long time, just fine. So, I want to read this statement. It's 800 words. It's the size of an editorial. When I was an intelligence analyst in Iraq at the height of the war, I got a close-up view of the social function, spread, and evolution of community networks. Unfortunately, the U.S. occupation labeled most of these groups as terrorists, banned them, bombed them, and pitted them against their ethnic rivals in genocidal rampage. Now I am again involved in an occupation, but this time I am building, not destroying, a new community. However, I find myself at odds within and without the group camped out in Lee Park. After I left the Army in 2007, I became a peace and justice activist. I was one of the first soldiers to testify to the United Nations Human Rights Commission. I led a successful campaign to halt the U.S. military stop-loss policy. I spent several years in intensive study of nonviolent and asymmetric conflict. I'm married to the executive director of a homeless shelter. I'm a published author of many articles and even the biography of a lifelong activist. What my experience has taught me is manifold. That justice is a reality as well as a principle. That any struggle for justice is fought over decades and lifetimes instead of weeks and months. Most of my good friends are God-fearing retired folk who want to leave the world better than they found it, and I share their sentiment. I've been trained in the Saul Alinsky, Gene Sharp, Gandhi, and prophetic Christian traditions, and I try to move in many different circles to instill in people's hearts a desire for true peace and true justice, and that includes the police and the media. They're part of the 99% too. When I came to occupy Charlottesville's first meeting, I was very excited and happy to find a whole community of like-minded people there waiting for action. Now a month has passed and I am still excited, but I am worried. There's a faction in the community which is reactive and resistant to any change, the Tea Party, and is a mouthpiece of fear and discord. But there is also a faction within my own group, which, though they are very deep-hearted and compassionate individuals, are driven by fear and by anger. As the chill of autumn creeps into Lee Park, the fear of failure and of loss has taken hold of the hearts of some of us. Anger has always been present in the disaffected and disenfranchised, and with good reason. But for many with no experience, no training or frame of reference, this camp, which has been their new home, their new focus, and their new life, there is a deep and abiding fear of loss. What we have created downtown is a beautiful, at times chaotic, but very rich and meaningful space of enfranchisement, healing, and community. Through our pain, we have moved the hearts and minds of the city, the police, the media, and the community. Nobody wants to see this unprecedented achievement packed up and abandoned, and some are passionately defending it to the very end. But the vision we must have is far larger and more grand than many of us have yet to comprehend. The principle of justice has worked through us to give us this taste of the magnificent organic community existence that is ours if we open ourselves to it. It's still speaking to us underneath the fear and the anger. It will require of us years, maybe even our whole lives. I know that my life is firmly dedicated to this vision, and it will require discipline and much wisdom. True justice, according to William Lloyd Garrison, does not act through injustice, secrecy, is independent of injustice, violence, and anger. I am asking you tonight to quiet the inner voices that move you to reaction. Whether it be reaction against the city, the police, the patriarchy, the authority, or even me. I ask you to look inward and search your true feelings and intentions. Where there is anger, fear, or mistrust, I ask you to note them and place them aside. The future of our planet, of our families and cities, rests on the choices we make now and in the future. If we use alienating tactics, if we hang on desperately to prove a point, we will be missing the bigger picture. Please put your egos aside for a moment and connect to the universal justice which has brought you here to this point in time and space. When you make a decision, think of the wider community outside the park, the city, and the nation. It takes more dedication to fight a long uphill battle than it does to get arrested and pay a $1,000 fine, and dedication is what will decide the fate of humanity on this earth. Peace be with you all. I don't hold anything against anybody here. Honestly, I do not. And I thank you. It's been an honor for me to be here.